Hi, everybody. No, excuse me. Hi, everybody. So I am so excited to be here to be doing a live stream this morning. I haven't done one in a long time. I did the romances live stream, and I did a Sundance live stream actually over at Hallmark's podcast. And talking about indie romances over there. So I've done a couple, but I haven't done one stage and screen one since January. So that it's just been a very busy time for me. But I'm happy to be doing this. And I figured since it's been so long, I'm not going to try to recap everything I've seen since January. But I would just talk about maybe what I've seen in March, stage and screen. And so that would be fun. But let me know what you've been seeing and you've been watching. The chat room will be open, so you can put in your comments, and there's even you can do a super chat if you feel so inclined. That would be awesome. And let's dive in. Let's talk about movies first and what I've been watching. So in March, I went to the Sundance. In March, I went to South by Southwest Film Festival. And it was really fun to get to see my friends. And I was trying something. I drove there, which took 2 days of driving both ways. I drove 2,500 miles in 4 days, which is kind of wild. But I did, and it ended up not really working out as well as I'd hoped, and then having to leave 2 days early because of weather. So I only ended up seeing five. I only ended up seeing five films at the festival. So that's, unfortunate, but it is what it is. Life doesn't always work out perfect. So let's talk about it. The movies that I saw. I have a comment here. What are your thoughts on the Shrek 5 teaser trailer? I think it looks great. I'm not like in love with the new design, but like after Puss in Boots: The Last Wish was so good, I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt on that front as far as the animation and the bad guys 2 looks really good. They've been doing some really cool stuff at DreamWorks. I like Ruby Gillman way more than most. So they've been doing some really good stuff in their animation department as far as DreamWorks. And so yeah, I mean, I thought it was fine, the trailer, but we'll see. I'm not like the biggest Shrek person in the world. I think Shrek 2 is the best one that they had. I really dislike Shrek 3. Shrek 4 is all right. Like it's decent. It's pretty good. And the original Shrek is like, I think it's one of those movies that's like really funny the first time you watch it, but then like the jokes aren't that good. I love the Shrek the musical even more than the original Shrek. It's probably my favorite Shrek thing is Shrek the musical. I really love the songs and the thing is very, very, very funny. So they have a pro shot of it. So if you haven't seen it, you should check it out. It's very good. I really do love that musical. So there we go. That's my Shrek ranking. I would say Puss in Boots: The Last Wish, if that counts, and then Shrek the musical, Shrek 2, the original Puss in Boots, Shrek 4, and then way down below Shrek 3. That's my and I haven't seen like the TV, like the Shrek Christmas and whatever. I haven't seen the other stuff, but those of the feature film / musical, that's my ranking for Shrek. So we'll see what they do with Shrek 5. I am definitely in the mood to be very forgiving to DreamWorks. I even enjoyed Kung Fu Panda 4. So they're doing a lot of good work over there. So yay. Okay. Let's talk about what I saw at the festival. We had the we had the Curtis Mayfield, the Life and Times of Curtis Mayfield, and he was he let me get this up. He was an incredible musician and wrote like tons of hits. And it was interesting because the movie was directed by her, this performer, that's her name, and she introduced it. It was her first time directing, and so you could tell it was her first time directing because like Curtis Mayfield had like a crazy life, like really kind of wild. And I felt like that too much of the documentary was her and one of her friends like John Legend or someone like that, and just listening to the song in a sound booth and being like, "Oh, what an amazing song." And it's like, we want to learn about this person. We don't want to just hear that you think this is amazing. Like maybe a little bit of that is fine, but there was way too much of it. And so that was a problem with this documentary. You could tell it was a first time director. It's The Makings of Curtis Mayfield is the title. Okay, so then I saw a comedy called Cotton Candy Bubblegum. And this, it was kind of a bummer because it was a premiere. I saw it at, the whole cast was there, and it just, everything just fell flat. And it's like so awkward when everybody's there and nobody's laughing at a comedy. Um, this is one of those comedies that kind of forgets or confuses chaos with humor. Just because everything's like wild and crazy, like doesn't mean that it's necessarily funny. And so yeah, it was pretty bad. It just wasn't funny, and that's a problem with a comedy. So yeah. Then I saw Nirvana, the band, the show, the movie. I had never heard of this. I guess this is like a comedic troupe or whatever. But you watch this movie and you're just, my mouth was agape. Like it was unbelievable. I I just couldn't like believe. I don't want to spoil it if you ever get to see it, because like it's just, what they do so well is they mix a narrative story in with real people and with real reactions and real stuff. And there's a couple, it's kind of like Borat in that way, like there's a fictional character, but like sometimes the faces are blurred, so it's like real people, not actors, and things like that. And you just watch and you're just like, oh my gosh, I cannot believe that they are doing this. And it's also like a charming friendship story as well. And it was so funny. I can't remember the last time that I laughed that hard at a recent comedy. It was shocking, but also like really funny. And so I hope that everybody gets the chance to see it. I really, really enjoyed it. So let's see here. What are your thoughts on the new release date on Beyond the Spider-Verse for June 4th, 2027? I'm hoping it has a similar end credits to D&W showing behind the scenes footage from past Spider-Man films. Yeah, I mean, as long as, they're treating their employees better, and, if that's how long, if that's the timeline that they need, then that's fine with me. It's fine with me. I hope that what I hope more than like behind the scenes, that could be fun, but I really hope, and I'm sure they will, that we get you could go to like a marathon so that we could see all three films together, because especially, these last two, I just think that would be really fun to see the whole story and to have it like be fresh in our mind, the last ones going into watching the new one. So I hope that they do that. But, I mean, that's a long time to wait, 2027, but it's, if that's how long it takes, that's how long it takes. What are you going to do? Okay, so then we have We Are Store. I saw this at the festival. This is Michael Bay directed documentary about these parkour jumpers, called We Are Store, our store. I had never heard of parkour. I knew nothing about this whole like movement. I'd never heard of these guys. I'd never heard of parkour. And so that was fun. And it was fun to see, of course, there's some really cool like jumps and tricks and stuff like that they do. And Michael Bay, you can tell it's Michael Bay documentary because there's tons of drone shots, but that works for people that are like jumping and, doing these, like it makes sense to have drone shots. So his style, I think, was a good fit actually for this movie. And it's also about these guys and growing older and trying to do these tricks and stuff. So let's see here. It's like Green Day's song from Deadpool and Wolverine. Oh, that's what D&W. I wasn't sure what that meant. Right. I get that. Okay. But yeah, this Weird Store is a fun documentary. If you get a chance to see it in a theater, if it goes to theaters, then I would recommend it because the visuals are really pretty cool, seeing these stunts. And then I saw a Night of the Zoopocalypse. This is an animated horror film. The zombie zoo animals and that are these animals that face off against these zombies. It was fun. Like, this would be a really nice way to introduce kids to horror themes without it being too traumatic. I think this is very similar to like Monster House in that way, that they're both sort of like classic horror movies, but like animated and for kids. And I liked the colors, I liked the animation. Some of the characters were a little grating, but I still think overall it was I still think overall it was a pretty entertaining, nice gateway to horror and to introduce your kids to those themes and those ideas. I saw the Ballad of Wallace Island at Sundance, and that is a charming movie. It's out in theaters right now. I wish it was getting more attention, about this guy who there's this couple that they split, and so they're not doing music together anymore. He won the lottery, this guy, so he hires them to do a private concert just for him. So they're kind of forced back together. And it was very cute, good songs. You should check it out. I also saw at Sundance, I saw the Marley Matlin documentary, and I saw Deaf Presidents. The Deaf President, those are both very good documentaries that were that played at South by Southwest as well. So you should check those out when you get a chance. Okay, so that is everything that I saw at the festival. Yeah, it was kind of, I saw a couple other things on demand, but we won't talk about those at the festival. So then next up, I saw Snow White, and coming out of it, I was like, that wasn't as terrible as I was expecting. So maybe it benefited a little bit from low expectations. I did like the songs. I'm a Pasek and Paul fan. I like their songwriting. I liked Greatest Showman. I like La La Land. I like Dear Evan Hansen. So I like their style of songwriting. And so in general, I liked the new songs. I was sad to not get all of the old songs. But I was happy with the amount of old that we got. I couldn't believe that they had True Love's Kiss, but I think it's also undeniably true that those scenes were added because of the backlash of Rachel Zegler saying weird and saying that the prince was stalking her and all that bizarre stuff that she said. So I think I would have hated it even more if it was the original plan that they had. I think the reshoots made it better, but that doesn't necessarily mean that it's successful and that's a good movie. I think both the leads were miscast in the roles. I think you can tell that it's basically like two screenplays meshed into one. You've got the old stuff, the new stuff doesn't really work together very well. So I didn't hate it, but I didn't think that it was particularly successful either. Certainly couldn't recommend it. And obviously it doesn't have anything to hold a candle to the original animated classic. Of course, that goes without saying. Why do we even need these films? They're so frustrating. And of course, the dwarfs looked absolutely terrible. I mean, what on earth were they thinking? It was it was nightmare fuel, the dwarfs. So I couldn't recommend it, but I didn't think it was one of the worst of these remakes. It would be like right in the middle for me. So it's here. Having a good riddance by Green Day played in the Spider-Verse and credits to be massive finale. And yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that was nice. Okay, so yeah, Snow White, I've already forgotten about it. It was completely forgettable, but not like a total dumpster fire, in my opinion, because of the songs. Yeah. So, okay. And the romance I actually liked. Again, probably added in reshoots, but it worked well enough for me on that level. Okay, then I saw The Day the Earth Blew Up, the Looney Tunes movie. I'd already seen this last year, but it was on a screener link. And so I was, excuse me. Ooh. Um, and so The Day the Earth Blew Up, Looney Tunes movie, I absolutely loved this. I thought it was so funny. I thought it was so manic. I loved the animation. I loved just the throwback to classic Daffy and Porky. I mean, I guess if you're going to criticize it, it didn't have any bugs, and that's a little bit of a bummer. Or Marvin the Martian, which it would have been so easy to involve Marvin the Martian in this extraterrestrial story. But I think it's the best Looney Tunes movie we've ever gotten. I really do. And I thoroughly enjoyed it. So yeah, it was great to see it on the big screen because I hadn't been able to before. Then next, I saw Death of a Unicorn, and this I saw it at a screening. It was part of South by Southwest, so I kind of include it there. And I really enjoyed it. I thought it was very unpredictable. I didn't know kind of where it was going, and so that was like fun to me. I didn't know like if there was going to be humanity in these unicorns or if they were just completely bloodthirsty. What was going to happen with the characters, and it was like funny enough. I enjoyed it, and it has flaws. It looks kind of cheap, and it has some annoying things. And I get that people that have seen more horror than me probably maybe find it that unpredictability isn't the same, but I had a good time watching it. I didn't know quite where it was going. So, that was fun. Let's see here. Do you think there will be a product placement in the new Smurfs movie? Of course. Of course. Um, I mean, I guess unless they just stay like completely in Smurfsville, but so almost every Sony film has like product placement. So that's kind of their thing. So at the very least, I wouldn't be surprised if there's like some kind of product placement joke. It'd be like, oh, we have Smurf Cola or something like that in our or Smurfsy or something like Smurf versions of products. I could see that. So I'm somebody I really enjoyed Smurfs the Lost Village. We did a whole episode of obscure animation, of underrated animation on it, me and Stanford, because I just think that movie's beautiful. I think it's actually a pretty good story. I really enjoyed it, and so that makes me more excited for this new Smurfs than I might otherwise be. So then I saw Neza 2. This is an animated film out of China. And it's kind of similar to your like Avatar: The Last Airbender, those kinds of stories where everybody there's different powers and and the reason to watch this movie is for the beautiful animation, but especially for the action. The animated action is really impressive with this, and it was my introduction to this whole series. But you can see why it's such a phenomenon. It's so popular is because that action is really well done. So that was fun to get to see another culture in there in this incredibly successful film. So that was fun. Next, I saw Black Bag, and this was very disappointing to me. I mean, I guess I'm in the minority. It seems like people really enjoy it. I thought it was so dull. I was not interested in this story. Like, and maybe a part of it was I was, expecting something kind of peppy from Steven Soderbergh. He's got this incredible cast. It's supposed to be a spy movie, but it was a lot of like people sitting around tables, shooting barbs at each other, and like I just felt like it had so little narrative. Like what were we doing? I was not interested in these people, even though the acting was good and it was well filmed. I don't know. The script was lacking for me in this one for sure. How would you feel if DreamWorks made a live action Megamind remake? Absolutely not. I have no interest in that at all. No. That would look so weird. Like his head shaped that way in live action? What? No. Well, and especially what they did with this horrible sequel last year that I just that I think that they kind of ruined all sort of trust in their ability to do Megamind after that was so terrible. I just think that sounds awful to me. There is an AI live action Megamind movie trailer on YouTube with Jim Carrey as Megamind. Like he has the energy, I can see that, but like it would look so weird. The giant blue head, like no, thank you. Not interested in that at all. Do you think we'll get a Tom Holland cameo in Beyond the Spider-Verse since Across the Spider-Verse had those references mentioned, such as Doctor Strange and Earth 99996 and Donald Glover as Prowler? It's possible. I kind of hope not. I just want them to just stick with maybe just like as like a little joke or something, I guess, but I don't need it. So, I mean, and as far as like the live action, like I have like give me something new. I love animation. I don't want to see the animated films I love in live action. That's actually downgrading them most of the time. Every once in a while, you'll have a Pete's Dragon that's like significantly better. But why are we wasting our time making inferior versions of what we already have? It doesn't make any sense to me. I don't get it. So I just don't understand this like desire that people have to see animation and live action. I just don't get it. We have, do you want to see the Madam Web characters in Beyond the Spider-Verse? No, thank you. No, thank you. Okay, then I saw My Love Will Make You Disappear. This is a Filipino rom-com that's about this girl who every time she falls in love with, or a man falls in love with her, he disappears. So she thinks she's like cursed. And there's like this landlord that she starts like sparring over who's going to sell this like kind of duplex community area and that he got from his grandma. He has to sell it, and so they're sparring, and then of course they start to be attracted to each other, and then she is terrified she's gonna make him disappear. And so that's the cute kind of dynamic that they have. And it was fun to see a film from another culture, and evidently there's this concept in Filipino culture of kilig, which is like kind of being Twitter pated, being in love, being excited. And so it was fun to learn about that. And as a, rom-com fan, and as a, since I cover romantic comedies on my podcast, it was fun to see one from a culture and that I never seen before. So yeah, I enjoyed it. Complete opposite, a movie called Warfare. And this is directed by Raymond Mendoza and Alex Garland. And evidently from what I'm reading, it was really more like Raymond Mendoza directing with Alex Garland kind of like mentoring and helping. Like that's what I read, because it's all based on Raymond Mendoza's experiences in the Iraq War as a Navy SEAL. And it's all done in real time. And you really feel like you're there with the soldiers. There's not even any music. Like it's not Hollywoodified at all. You like feel the like tension and the like every second, just like your pulse is pounding. I thought it was incredibly well done, incredibly well acted. The whole ensemble's great. It's tough to watch. Like it definitely won't be for everybody. It's like incredibly intense, and they're trying to get these guys out. Some of them severely wounded, and I thought it was very well done for what it is, but it definitely won't be for everyone. So, you have to decide if you're up for something like that intense. And I think it's almost like more useful as a piece, like an archival a historical piece than a feature film to like capture what these people experienced as close as you can, than it necessarily is as like entertainment. It's more like almost more educational in that way, like of archiving, kind of chronicling what these people experienced. I think that has a lot of value, but it is definitely stressful to watch for sure. Okay, so then we have we have Minecraft movie. I wasn't going to see this. I have never played Minecraft. I know almost nothing about it. So it's definitely not my world. And the trailer was so bad, but then I heard from a lot of people that it was good. And I saw it and I think it was like decent. Like this is watchable. It's like a decent time at the movies if you're with your family looking for some laughs. Particularly the first 30 minutes I think have most of the like funny jokes. Particularly Jason Momoa I think is very, very funny in this kind of cool guy but has been sort of role. Like he still thinks he's cool, but he's really not cool. Like that's funny to me. He does a good job with that. And Jack Black is pretty funny. Once they get out sort of questing in the Minecraft world, it started to get less interesting for me and it started to get a little bit bored. But then like they come together for a pretty fun finale. So overall, it's watchable. I would say I would just watch on streaming, but it's not like it's not a train wreck like the trailer made it look to be. So we have, what are your thoughts on the upcoming Cat in the Hat movie? I'm looking forward to it, but I'm still disappointed that the Illumination version of the film was canceled. I can't remember who's making I can't remember who's making it. I mean, so far most of the Dr. Seuss movies have been pretty bad, mid to bad. So I'm not that excited about it. I mean, there's not much story there. That's the hard about Cat in the Hat. Like, I mean, even Grinch has more of like a narrative, a story. Cat in the Hat is just like he's just like a kooky babysitter. It's really not. There's really not like a ton of story in there. Okay, it's going to be at WB with Bill Hader as the cat. Cool. Fair enough. It's just that's the tricky thing with a Cat in the Hat. Is just a feature film. There's just not that much story in that book and that story. So it means you have to add like a ton of extra story like they tried with that live action, which was horrible. So I don't know. I think almost the Seussical musical, even though that has problems and isn't my favorite, it combining a bunch of different Seuss stories all together and having the Cat in the Hat be the narrator. I think that's almost the way I would go if I wanted to do something Cat in the Hat. Maybe combine it with Horton or with one of the other characters, the Lorax or whatever, like one of the other characters from Dr. Seuss. I think that could work better than a straight Cat in the Hat. There's just not a lot of story. It's just he just like babysits like these kids and is like kooky and funny, and I don't know. That's the problem. That's the struggle. So okay. Then last night I saw The Amateur. This is with Rami Malek. It's it reminded me a little bit of like the Bourne films. Like he's on the run. He's trying to figure things out as he goes. The problem with the movie is that everything is just a little too easy. Like he looks at a shadow and immediately knows that's the girlfriend. He immediately figures out, oh, that's her name. This is who she is. This is where they are. Like it's just a little easy, which like makes things a little bit less compelling. But that said, it's like pretty entertaining, I thought, for this kind of a movie. The cast is great. It's these sort of mid-level action, even though it doesn't have that much action, but in this genre, I don't feel like we get that many, and this is like pretty solid, I think, for what it is. So he says, have you seen the How to Train Your Dragon Broadway? I have not. I have not seen that. So I didn't even know that was a thing. So there we go. Okay, so that's the movies I saw in the theater in March and into April. Let's see if there's any that I didn't see in the theater that I want to talk about. Let's see here. The penguin lessons, that was so cute, like adorable, about this guy who kind of gets this penguin that he has to take care of uh for through various conferences, and it was just very cute. Like, that anybody would make him like get rid of this penguin, be like such a grouch. It's very cute. I recommend it. I enjoyed The Most Beautiful Girl in the World. This is on Netflix. We did episode of Hallmarkies podcast on it, and this is out of Indonesia, and it's pretty bonkers, but I enjoyed it. Like, again, it's sort of like My Love Will Make You Disappear. Like, I enjoy watching romances from like other cultures and their traditions and stuff, and it's fun. So I enjoyed that. I liked La Dolce Villa. This was on Netflix, also covered on Hallmarkies podcast, and I thought it was cute. It's about this man. His daughter is like young 20s. She buys a €1 house in Italy and starts to spend her savings to fix it up. He's concerned about this. He goes over there to help her, and then has like love himself, finds love. She finds love, and of course, Italy's beautiful. It was charming. Another cute rom-com that I saw, Meet Cute in Manhattan. This, I actually got to interview the stars. It's cute. It's about these two actors who get hired basically to be this like ideal couple by this dating app. And so people start to think that they are actually a real couple when they're just actors. And I thought it was fun that because they're filming all these commercials, they could do all these homages to classic rom-coms in the movie. So they've got like a scene from where they're like recreating Roman Holiday and Singing in the Rain, and those kind of things. So that was good. I also saw The King of Kings. This is an animated film, and it's good, like, for what it's trying to be. This is not one of those faith-based films that's like trying to be for everybody or be approachable. No, this is like trying to be basically like a Sunday school aid to teach the Jesus story, particularly the Easter kind of part of it, to kids, in a palpable way that's not too like traumatizing, and it has a really good voice cast. The animation's good, and so if you're Christian and you want to have help teaching your kids about Jesus, this is like a pretty good movie. It's not made, like, you have to look at things for what are they made for. This is not made for like general audiences. This is a nice version of the Christ story for kids, and I think that has value, and it's got a great voice cast. So I enjoyed it. And then we have, let's see here. What else did I see? Oh, I also, at South by Southwest, I saw My Uncle Jens, this Norwegian film about this guy, and his like distant uncle comes to stay with him. And then like he's there and keeps staying. And it turns out he's got kind of a shady past, and the reason why he's kind of hiding out. He's not just staying. So that was pretty fun. Pretty good. I saw Queen of the Ring. This is a biopic about the first major female wrestler, and it spends a lot of time on her relationship with her manager and other relationships, and that got a little old, but the fighting part of it and all of that was pretty good. I'd recommend it. Mickey 17, this was very disappointing. I was much looking forward to it, and I just didn't care for it at all. I thought it was so annoying. All the shouting, all of the characters, the like Trump metaphor was so heavy-handed and annoying, and I really just did not enjoy it. And it's long and repetitive, and I saw the new Barbie movie, Barbie Teresa, A Recipe for Friendship, and that was very cute. I always like, a new Barbie movie is fun to see, and this is a pretty grown-up movie for Barbie. Like, I don't know how much like little kids pre-K and stuff are going to be into this story, of Barbie Brooklyn getting torn between her two friends and their various projects and stuff and managing her time, and like it's sort of grown up themes, but I liked it. I had fun with it. And yeah, I think that is all the movies that we'll cover. Let's see here. For Beyond the Spider-Verse, won't we see Earth 8 miles and Gwen from the comic sitting on a tree as a possible timeline for the relationship, since Miller and Gwen variants are plot integral? I have no idea. I'm not that like, it's been a while since I saw that movie, so it's not like fresh on my mind, and I don't know the comics like you do, which is awesome. So yeah, I don't know. There was going to be a live action Bob the Builder movie from Lionsgate in 2012 with Dwayne Johnson as Bob, but it got canceled. Thank goodness. I don't need to see Bob the Builder in live action. I mean, I guess at least that makes a little bit more sense in the sense that it's like a human, in like regular, it's not like a fantastical setting. Okay, so now I'm going to share some of the theater that I saw. Okay, so let's see here. I saw 15 live productions in March. So I saw A Case for the Existence of God, and this was a new play, and that title is so convoluted. There's almost nothing religious about this play. I think it's like the play equivalent of clickbait with the title, trying to get you in, but it's actually like a decent story about these two men and their friendship. It just has nothing to do with God, so that was kind of annoying, but I did like it. Then I saw The Sting. This is a new retelling. This is the Parker Theater. A Case for the Existence of God was at Pioneer Theater. The Sting was at Parker Theater. Very well done, incredible costumes, very good action. Like there's a point where one of the actors gets thrown across the stage. I was like, that looked hard. That looked painful. It's not really my thing, like these kind of crime stories, but it was very well done. Very good. I saw Bright Star twice. Y'all know how much I love Bright Star. This is Draper Historic, and they had a full band, and everybody was so good, and I loved it. I love that show so much. Then I saw Sound of Music, and this was so exciting. This was a Centerpoint Legacy, and there were two things that were so impressive about this production. They always do a great job at Centerpoint, but what they did is they had the mountains on the background of the set, and then they moved different things in front of it for the different parts, but they were always surrounded by the mountains, which I thought was such a brilliant choice, because they are always surrounded by the mountains. And then when they climb over the mountains, they literally had them, they had them climb over the set, which I thought was so smart. The other thing that they did was so brilliant was they had these film reels projected of 1940s Germany, these film reels, and then right before the concert at the end, they have this speech by Adolf Hitler, which was so chilling and so like this is a show that's usually very like sentimental and very sweet, and I love it, of course. I like the movie better than the stage, but I thought this was just such like a ballsy move, and it like added this gravitas that you typically don't see with Sound of Music. I thought it was extremely impressive. Okay, what else? I saw The Pajama Game. This was at Beverly's Terrace Plaza. I had never seen this musical before, which is part of the reason I wanted to go see it. There's definitely parts of it that don't hold up. It's kind of about this labor dispute at this pajama factory, and there's a lot of like weird employer dating and relationships and stuff that that wouldn't fly today. But the songs are pretty fun and the performances were good. This is a like amateur theater, but I was very surprised that they picked such a saucy story for this family theater. But it was fun. It was fun to get to see it. Then I saw Next to Normal. This is at Heart Theater, and this was absolutely outstanding. They had live music, they had incredible, everybody was so good. Their acting, and what I liked the most about this is I feel like this production really had humanity for all of its characters. And there's sometimes when I feel like Dan, the husband in this play, this musical, like it's sort of demonized, and he definitely can be selfish as most people can be in life, but he's like trying to hold his vows for his marriage, and he's not as honest as he should be. He's a flawed character, but I felt like this production got that, and I really loved the actor who was playing Dan. He was so good. They got the humanity of Dan, so that was good. I saw Pride and Prejudice at American Heritage School, and I was so excited that I got to see this because they've been wanting me to come see some of their shows, and it just never worked out. Of course, I love Pride and Prejudice. I love this adaptation of Pride and Prejudice, and it was really fun to see the teens take it on, which is like a huge challenge for them because there's so much dialogue. And, usually like high schools do junior productions or so there's not as many lines and stuff and things. It's just a little bit easier. But this was like the full on Pride and Prejudice. I was very impressed with them that they did that. Okay, then I saw Man of La Mancha, and this was fun. This was at Kensington Theater, and I had never seen Man of La Mancha. It was a blind spot for me. And so that was super fun to get to check that off my list because, of course, it's a classic of musical theater, and there were some really great songs, and they have a live orchestra there at Kensington. I think it's one of the more underrated theaters in our area, and they had great performers. It was the set was absolutely gorgeous. It's a little slow for me, this musical. That's not their fault, but yeah, I'm glad I saw it. I'm not necessarily super engaged to see it again and again because it was a little slow for me. But okay. Then I saw The Wizard of Oz at Heritage Theater. This was such a good production. I loved all of the staging and lighting, and they had this really cool like the Oz puppet that was made out of these shipping crates and stuff, and it like moved, and it was very cool. I mean, this is a tiny theater in middle of nowhere, Utah, and the fact that they could come up with like this incredible animatronic, like it was cool. I was very impressed with that and the performances so they're great. I saw Seussical while I was in Texas at Christian Youth Theater. So that was really fun. Seussical Junior. Seussical isn't my favorite musical, but it does have some cute songs. So that was fun to see the kids. Then I saw Guys and Dolls. This is at Ideal Playhouse, and I'm really excited about Ideal Playhouse. This is in Heber. What they're doing and the quality of the productions, and I love Guys and Dolls. And they what they do in this theater is they have projections all the way around, which is really fun. And one time in one of the projections, they actually even had some videotapes. You see one of the actors walking along in the projection, which I thought was very clever. So that was fun. Okay, so then I saw Between the Lines. This is a new musical. I never heard of it. I never seen it, about a girl who gets kind of lost in this book. She sort of falls for this prince and becomes like a real kind of character, and she ends up going into the book, and meanwhile like her parents' marriage is falling apart, and so she's kind of needing that escape. And it was good. I liked the songs. It was just something fresh, and I appreciated that. I saw Persuasion at Parker Theater. Of course, I love Jane Austen. I love Persuasion. This was interesting because they really did put in a lot of humor that's not really in the book. And so that was a new take that I thought was interesting. They definitely made Anne like pretty sassy for that, but it was still like enough of the book that I enjoyed it. And so that was fun. Then I saw Jesus Christ Superstar, and this was at the Grand Theater. I'd never seen this show before, and the production was incredible. The singing was incredible. I was surprised that this show is like 90 minutes. It's really short, which was kind of fun. Um, and it can be quite moving in its depiction of Jesus and Christ. And of course, it's a rock sound, but like the story is there, it's all there. They definitely, this production didn't shy away from like the blood and the sort of the more mature aspects of it, which I appreciated, and it was good. Let's see here. Have you seen Flight Risk? I give it a 5 out of 10. I actually have it. They send it to me, but I haven't had a chance to see it. So let's see here. My son wants me to see Jesus Christ Superstar. I can't find it yet. So there is I think there's a film version from back in the 80s, I think. And then there's also a live on stage version of it with John Legend. I haven't seen either, so. But this was my first time seeing Jesus Christ Superstar. And I think overall it was like a very interesting take on the Christ story. I appreciated what it was trying to say. Let's see here. How would you feel if Disney makes live action remakes of Home on the Range and Chicken Little and the Wild? No. Okay, so let's keep going. So then I saw let's see here, Life of Pi, and this was the national tour, and it was an interesting thing because I'm usually not a style over substance person. Usually the story has to kind of get me, but this was so visually incredible. The puppets were so good that it did kind of win me over. The story is like is fine, but it's really about the visuals that were incredible. And it was so neat. The next day they did a media event, which I was invited to, and I got to get right up and close with the puppet, and so that was super cool. I got to interview them. I have the interviews here on this channel. You should watch them. Okay, then I saw, let's see here. I saw Jersey Boys at the Roof, and I like Jersey Boys. I think it doesn't forget to have a sense of humor. This is the PG version of Jersey Boys that they're doing there, which I much prefer the original authentic version. I mean, it's kind of ridiculous. You expect these guys from New Jersey to not like swear at all. Like, I mean, it's ridiculous. But nevertheless, I enjoyed it. Very talented cast, a talented staging, good singing. I think that the second half of Jersey Boys is even better than the first half because it kind of breaks the mold a little bit. I like when Nick starts telling the story. So, I recommend it. I enjoyed it. Then I saw Dogfight. This was the new one for me. I'd never seen it before. And so that was cool. And this was definitely a mature production for Utah County. And this is the first production of a company called Sentinel Theater. And I thought for their first production, it was very bold. The incredible talent, all the singing, the staging was really good. This is a very pretty depressing musical, but I'm glad I saw it. I thought it was good. Then I saw Steel Magnolias. And it was so crazy because this was at Mill Creek Community Theater, but it's just like in an office space with an elevated platform at Mill Creek City Hall. Like, you would never guess you could get this quality of a production at City Hall, but it really was great. All of these women were incredible in their roles. They were like perfectly cast. They had chemistry together. It's a really funny play. If you've only seen the movie, you should definitely watch the play. It was so good. I was so impressed. And that's it. That catches. Then I saw Bright Star at Draper Historic again, the other cast, and that was incredible too. So there we go. Yes, no remakes. I mean, I just don't want to see my animation in live action. That has no value to me. I like animation. I don't care about it looking real. The whole point is the artistry of the animation. Like, I just don't understand the appeal. Like, why do people want to see what's in animation in live action? I like I live in the world. I know what the world looks like. I go to the movies to escape. I want to see the animation. I don't want to see live action. I don't know. It's just so weird to me. I don't understand that whole appeal. It's very strange. So, there we go. There were some good Hallmark movies, particularly in February. I really loved Return to Office. That was very good script, very well done. I liked An Unexpected Valentine. That was good as well. So I would recommend those. I really liked The Royal We. I thought that was very charming. Great chemistry, well done. So some good Hallmark movies lately. And so let's see here. So it says here there was going to be a live action Thomas and Friends film, Lion Gates in 2010, and 2011 was going to take place in World War II, but it got canceled. So that's proof the studios don't think animation is just for kids. Okay, sounds good. They've already done a live action Thomas and Tank with Alec Baldwin, and I just turning something from animation to live action has almost no appeal to me at all. I just don't understand the whole point. If they're telling a new story, then I guess that could be interesting. Like the Cinderella was pretty good. Like it had its own flair to it, own style to it, own thing. But it's not like copying. It's just a new version of Cinderella. It's not a live action remake of the animated film. Like you didn't have live action mice, making stuff, and like it wasn't, singing Cinderella, kind of a thing. Like it was its own thing. And so I guess I'm okay with that. Like you can have new takes on classic stories, but I don't want to have live action remakes of animated films. I'm not interested in that at all. So there we go. That is everything. Thanks so much for the comments and for watching. I saw Alexander and the Terrible, Horrible, No Good, Very Bad Road Trip. What a disappointment. This was terrible. I actually really liked the original Alexander. I think it's very funny. And but I just thought this was just not funny and just kind of gross, and it was bad. So I don't recommend that at all. So there we go. That's everything. Let me know what you think of all these different films and shows. If you got a chance to see any of these plays, these musicals, I would love to hear your thoughts. And thanks so much for listening. And check out the Patreon. We have a really good watch along guest coming this month, and we've got Maddie Hillis coming, and we're going to watch Return to Sender, which was really good. So definitely want to be part of the Patreon. And I have the merch store, so check that out as well. I really appreciate it. And thanks so much. Bye.